Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about the video? This is another paid request. This time for Edward. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And yeah, Edward wanted me to talk about South Park Season 14, Episodes 5 and 6. Now, this is a two-parter. I believe this was the 200th and then episode 201. So for the 200th episode, South Park guys want to do something special where these two episodes reference a lot of older episodes. A lot of older stories kind of put together into this two-parter. Whether it be controversies or things of that nature. So throughout these two episodes, you get a lot of celebrities referenced again. Because the story is, the kids are visiting this fudge factory and they see Tom Cruise packing fudge, so thus Stan calls him a fudge packer. Tom Cruise takes it wrong, says he's gonna sue, but you are packing fudge. No, I'm an actor. And one thing leads to another. He gets the other celebrities, so you see like Russell Crowe from the episode where he's beating everybody up. You have, who else was it? Kanye West, Rob Reiner, all sorts of celebrities that they made fun of in the past. And they want to sue South Park. But then they go, well, wait a minute. How about this? Give us Muhammad. If you give us Muhammad, we'll drop suing you. But the South Park kids and the whole town don't want Muhammad there because if they do, they'll be afraid that their terrorists will bomb the damn town. But then the Gingers, the ginger kids from another episode, they want Muhammad as well. The reason both parties want Muhammad is because if we clone ourselves to look like him, then they won't slander us as well. Because he's like the one guy, if you slander in any way, then you'll be threatened with violence, and usually those threats work. As in, censoring happens a lot. Meanwhile, Cartman, the Jennifer Lopez, that's his hand, that was an episode with when she was going out with Ben Affleck and all this. That makes an appearance. And then Cartman's real father, which in another episode deemed at first that his father was his mother, because of hermaphrodite, but then apparently it's not true. And the truth of that goes back to another episode with the guy Scott Titterman, which is a kid that Cartman fed his parents to, like fed Scott's own parents to him as revenge for Scott treating him like shit. It's a lot of references put in there. You even have the Marlon Brando character from Island of Dr. Moreau, which was the last time we saw him, like in the first or second season. I mean, it seemed like it'd been a long time since we saw that. Also, like Mr. Hanky makes an appearance. The Super Best Friends, which is all these religious characters as a superhero team from previous episode, that makes a reference. Mr. Garrison brings out Mr. Hat, which we have not seen in a long while. Barbara Streisand comes back, which was a big villain earlier in the show, and only now she's like Mecha Godzilla, so it's Mecha Barbara. They even have a reference to the episode with the killer whale where it got left on the moon. Because the kids don't know better. And you find out. It was interesting to see all this stuff put together. I wouldn't say it was the funniest two episodes. It was more interesting than funny to me. It was more interesting to see how all these references get put into the 40 minutes of running time. It was kind of interesting to see how all this craziness is really part of this one world, and to see all these past stories kind of converge and meet up. Because a lot of times you would think continuity would not be a big theme, but no, all this stuff did happen in this whole crazy world of South Park. And I think that this two-part did get a lot of controversy as well. Because, well, number one, the reason they honed in on Tom Cruise is apparently he was one of the only people who actually said he was going to sue South Park for the episode Trapped in the Closet, because it made fun of Scientology and said that he was literally in a closet, but they kept saying, "Get out of the closet," as in calling him gay. So, yeah, Tom Cruise is one of the only celebrities that actually was going to sue and gave South Park a lot of grief. I think even at the time, because Comedy Central was with Paramount, and Mission Impossible 3 was with Paramount, and Tom Cruise said, "If you air that episode again, I won't do press for Mission Impossible 3. So, Tom Cruise definitely got butthurt because of that. Other celebrities, I mean, you have the George Lucas, Spielberg, and they got Indiana Jones on a leash, referencing the episode they did on Indy 4, which highly disagree with him on that. Rob Reiner, he comes back and he's always talking about eating goo, and he's always eating. Because they're not fans of Rob Reiner as well. But the controversies, especially in the second episode of this, like episode 6, I should say, it really was. It's a real thing where if you mention Muhammad, and a lot of times it's like, well, can we show him? No. Well, can we hear his voice? Well, maybe. Well, what if we have him in this? But if you do, you'll show his feet. What if we put him in a mask? Well, you'll show his eyes. What if we put him in a U-Haul? Maybe we hear his voice. Maybe that'll work. Like, they show how ridiculous the extremes they have to do to get this joke in, and how the whole thing is just purely ridiculous. And like, they can make fun of other religions, like Buddha is snorting coke and all this stuff, but they can't make fun of Muhammad. Pretty much South Park, just Trey Parker, Matt Stone telling the audience just how ridiculous this whole censorship thing is. And at the end of the day, it still was censored. Because there might have been an uncensored one leaked, and I couldn't find it, but if you find the show, if you do, when they show Muhammad, there's a big censor bar over it. And especially in, which is weird, in episode 5, people were mentioning the name Muhammad. But in episode 6, even the name Muhammad was censored. When people said Muhammad, it kept getting censored over and over and over again. So it's weird in episode 5 it was okay to say the name, but episode 6, you can't even say the name at all. In fact, the whole speech where Kyle and then I think Santa and Jesus did these speeches, it just beep, beep, beep for like minutes. To the point I literally had to just turn off the volume because it was hurting my fucking ears. Now, again, apparently that was not Trey Parker Matt Stone's choice. That was Comedy Central's choice. And I guess at the time, a lot of people got mad at Comedy Central saying, "You pussies, you gave in to censorship, you gave in to this emotional terrorism," because they had gotten a threat that if this episode airs with this and this in it, then we'll go after Matt Stone and Trey Parker and blah, blah, blah. So I get it. On one end, they want to protect their employees, but also, protect themselves. Also, I think some of them is like, "I'm not getting hurt because of your fucking shitty joke, Trey Parker, Matt Stone." But when it's a consistent beep and you don't hear a single word, it's not really funny or entertaining. Now, apparently, again, the uncensored version was released somewhere, and someone wrote down what supposedly was said, and that it was pretty much that violence does that. You don't have to clone Muhammad. You just have to threaten violence. If you don't want to be slandered, you just threaten violence. And then there you go. Pretty much showcasing, what eventually did happen. Now again, because you don't hear that, that kind of, the whole two-part kind of becomes a moot point, and you don't hear a fucking bit of it. So it's weird that the stuff they're saying makes it funny, because that is what happened. If you threaten violence, you can't be slandered. The whole thing is just ridiculous and crazy. Oh, and you find out that Cartman's father was part of the Denver Broncos, and that it was Scott Tenorman's dad. So Scott Tenorman and Cartman is half brothers, and you find out that really Cartman killed his own dad to feed to Scott, because it was Scott's dad, and Cartman didn't know he was his dad. And Cartman's crying, but the reason Cartman's crying is because he finds out he's half ginger. But then the hand, which I always did think that was pretty funny. It's so ridiculous and stupid, but it's just Jennifer Lopez with tacos, 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 and but then it was like another person pretending to be Jennifer Lopez. That is a funny gag. I would say that's the funniest gag in the 2 episodes. I mean, it even has a flashback in Saigon 1972 and its own history. So, again, of the gags, I thought that was the funnier one. But like I say, it was interesting to see what other reference they would pop in next. Like Pip, that character comes in just to get killed. So I guess we never saw him at the end. He got stepped on and turned to paste. And then again, at the end of the 2-parter, Tom Cruise is sad. He wants to be somewhere where he's never slandered. And the kids, oh, we know a happy place. And the next shot is the moon, and Tom Cruise is dead on the moon next to the killer whale from that episode, where the kids thought they were doing the right thing. But unbeknownst to them, the moon is not really the best spot. So they killed Tom Cruise. Now, I like Tom Cruise, and I'm the type that the episodes I like less is the ones where they're going after celebrities, because I just think the more entertaining, better episodes is when they stick to their characters and their story within the town, instead of, okay, this celebrity pissed me off, now let me make fun of him. Kind of this personal grudge they have, or whatever the hell the case may be. I don't know, just those are the episodes I kind of like less. And it's more of the within their characters, within their realm. Whether it be Butters and Cartman dealing with stuff together, things of that nature. But that's just me. But like I said, this, with how they try to fit it all together, maybe it comes off a little bit messy. There's a lot of stuff converging. And like I said, it was more interesting than funny or hilarious. Like I said, the bits with the Cartman's hand and the drift a little bit, that stuff did still crack me up a bit. But yeah, when you get to the episode 6 and the whole censored bit at the finale, where it's like, it feels like 3 minutes straight of just beep. Kyle's talking. Then like Santa Claus is talking. Then Jesus is talking. Or was it Jesus and Santa? Yeah, I know those three, each one talking is a beep. It's like, idea that wasn't the creator's choice. I don't think. I think that was Comedy Central's choice. I don't know. I know it was Comedy Central's choice to censor the Muhammad. I don't know if the ending was Comedy Central's choice or their choice. I would assume Comedy Central's choice because you don't hear any of the words like at all. It just any amount of humor is just kind of not there. Not okay. They're being censored, but when it goes on for so long, it's like okay, this noise is just annoying as fuck. Let me just move along. Maybe it was one of those. I don't know. I don't know how else you would do it. So it's not my favorite of the season, but it wasn't bad or horrible either. Like I said, made sense for the 200th episode. You watch it, you go, oh, I remember that. I remember that. You know, the member berries. I'm surprised that wasn't part of this, the member berries. And they put that in there. Remember this? Remember this? I guess it was kind of funny too that Barbra Streisand, the way to stop her is to have a duet with Neil Diamond. So you have this Barbra Streisand, Mechagodzilla trying to sing, but just going, ah, and then Neil Diamond singing. So I thought that was kind of funny as well. But with that said, if you're a hardcore, if you didn't follow the show as much as others, some of the stuff you might not even get what it's referencing. Like, who's this guy with a small guy? Oh, it's Marlon Brando, Island Dr. Moreau. Oh, okay. Or who's... If you missed the Scott Tenorman episode, you'd be like, who's Scott Tenorman? Like, you'd really have to know about the show to get a lot of these references, so... Yeah, I think the more you know about, the more you'd understand. So it's definitely not the episodes to show someone who's new to South Park. Just half of this, or most of it, they're not going to understand and get the gist of it all. So, take that for what you will. Like if you missed the bit with the whale, the ending might not make sense. Why the fuck is he on the moon? And why is there a killer whale by the moon? But, hey, continuity. There you go. So, like I said, that was interesting because they didn't really do that a whole lot at this point of the show. Though, how continuity, the way it works. So, like I said, that was definitely a nice showcase for the more hardcore fans of it. Although it was sad, like, people like Butters was not utilized much, except he's the one who told Stan, hey, that's Tom Cruise. Kenny, I don't know if Kenny really did anything in these two episodes. I'm surprised they didn't do they killed Kenny, you bastard type of thing. I am surprised they did not do that. Instead, Pip got killed. Like I said, the whole thing with the end, with the whole speech being censored, that kind of, you know, it's a build-up, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, because out of their hands, the joke kind of got ruined. It kind of got neutered, kind of got suffocated. So it didn't really help in the total fruition of the story. But it is what it is. So, not my favorite, not stuff I would watch again, but it was interesting to watch at least once. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later.